What is up, citizens of YouTube? Today is a good day. And it's not just because I woke up from a nap right now after playing basketball. Basketball is my favorite thing on the planet, and I do love napping. But today is a good day because I am 3 months into remission from stage 4 metastatic melanoma. Now, this is my second time entering remission from cancer, and the first time I kind of kept the milestones to myself. I would write a Facebook post a year out, and that was about it. But seeing as I am chronicling my journey with cancer this time, I think it's important to show how remission goes from a holistic standpoint. There's a lot of weird components to remission. It's not just a straight path to, being healthy again, especially given how serious my cancer diagnosis is. So I'm going to give you some personal updates on what has happened since I entered remission, what the next steps are for my cancer treatment, as well as how I'm doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and everything around me in my life. I said I was going to start with the physical description of how I'm doing, and I took one look at the intro video I shot, and I said, you physically look bad. I'm sweating, it's really hot in my house, I'm bruised, I'm scratched, I don't know how much boob I can show on YouTube, and I look tired, so I actually went and got coffee, and now we're going to keep this rolling as I perk up a little bit. But physically, I feel like I'm doing very well. At the worst of my cancer treatment, I had autoimmune hepatitis and my thyroid was going crazy, and I had a host of other autoimmune side effects, and I lost about 30 pounds. I was down below 150 pounds for the first time since I was a senior in high school, which is nearly 20 years ago. And since then, I've gained most of the weight back. I've been running, I've been lifting, I've been playing basketball, I've been paying attention to my diet, and it's been going really well. I have been allocating a lot of my time to that because I'm always a big proponent of taking the healthy times and, maximizing the gains you can have then, just in case something does happen. But, last Saturday I ran a trail marathon with some buddies of mine in Reno, Nevada, and it was miserable. I was not in shape for it, but I finished, and I was really proud to have accomplished that. And I have been consistently getting on the court, and it's been great. That being said, the benchmarks of cancer remission from a physical standpoint are not just how much basketball you can play or how much you run or how much food you can eat, how good you can, think you look. For me, there's been a couple physical side effects that have been a little bit troubling, and I've done a few things to set them aside or get them out of my mind. So I've been having pretty consistent, dull pain near this lymph node in my groin, which is where one of the recurring spots was. And I've done a couple follow-up scans, including an ultrasound, and it seems like there's nothing. It's one of those things that they kind of explained as it might be some tissue that's being pulled by a lymph node that's been affected, but it's a little bit of a mystery. And, we did a circulating tumor test with my blood, and that came up negative, so it's very unlikely that this spot is cancerous, but as a cancer patient, it is pretty unnerving to just have weird, dull pains. And then one thing I noticed is my joints, specifically my shoulders and my hips, have been popping a lot more so than in the past. And this could be attributed to immunotherapy, and it could also be attributed to being on prednisone for 2 months. So while the general trend is up, there are some things that are going on from a physical standpoint that are giving me a little bit of pause. Now, what's the best way to put your mind at ease about various aches, pains, and potential concerns during cancer remission? Well, getting actual confirmation that you're still in remission. So, regarding the next steps in this remission journey, I'm going to have a PET scan as well as another one of those circulating tumor blood tests in a few weeks. And hopefully it'll show that there's nothing recurring. It seems like an obvious statement, but with metastatic melanoma, as well as most aggressive cancers, the first 3 months, or really the first year, is the most likely time that you're going to have another recurrence. And I don't think that's the case. I feel great, and there's no indication that anything is going wrong, but it's always scary when you do one of these things, especially so close to your treatment ending. Once I get those, and if they are good, I think it'll help me kind of stop worrying about this dull pain in my groin. And, it's a momentum-based thing. Right now, remission is going well, but I still feel, I don't know, a little bit of, shock from getting into it and a little bit of, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I'm really looking forward to getting those out of the way. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good segue, talking about the physical health components and my concerns there and how they affect my mental health. We'll dive right into that, the mental and emotional health in remission. I do separate these out a little bit now. I believe that mental health and emotional health, while they're very, very tied together, I mean, the Venn diagram is tight, but I've noticed that I personally operate a little bit differently with each, and so I'll explain what I mean by that. So my mental health, I would say, is fantastic right now. One, it's hard to feel too down about much when you're in remission from stage 4 melanoma very abruptly. It has a very, very euphoric or manic kind of effect on you. And the mental health side of things, to me, is like, can I control my thought processes? Can I achieve the things I want to mentally? And am I able to go about my life in a way where I feel that I'm unencumbered by my thoughts from a systematic standpoint? And that part's going well. I'm very motivated right now. I am using my clear head relative to when I was in cancer treatment to achieve good things, in my personal life, in business, and in terms of, bolstering myself for the things that are going to come during this journey in remission, or if something is to happen again via cancer. So that's all good from a mental health standpoint, excuse me. Emotional health, while it's not too different, like I said, you could almost just lump them together, but for me, the emotional health part is how well I process my feelings and how well I'm able to control those, or not control necessarily, because I think by definition, your emotions are not necessarily controllable things, but this includes like how I react to intrusive thoughts, or how often I'm feeling kind of like I'm floating mentally. Ambivalence and confusion and lack of meaning are things that I have found to be popping up in remission. And it's kind of tricky because I'm so close to this like massive trauma. It's really 3 months is not much in the scheme of things, and I'm still healing, and I know that. So I'm doing a good job of giving myself, grace when they come up, but it's something that you can kind of let yourself get trapped by. If you're super, super forgiving on yourself for these things, eventually they're going to become normalized, and that's something I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to be, emotionally ambivalent to everything. Maybe I'm not doing the best job of describing this, but it's like, I have these thoughts about, the life that I'm trying to lead, and sometimes they lead me to conclusions like, why is this important? How am I supposed to care about this? You just dealt with the craziest thing that's ever happened in your life. How am I supposed to be motivated to do X, Y, or Z? And that has pros and cons. Like, on the one hand, it's hard for me to feel fazed by negative things in day-to-day life. Something goes bad in business, fine. Something goes bad in sports, or something goes bad, that I don't control, that would used to bug me. I'm great at dealing with that. But at the same time, I have trouble sometimes, getting motivated for certain things because I just made this big push to beat cancer, and now like getting the engine going for some of these things is not as consistent as I'd like it to be. And even that sentence right there shows you how cocky I'm getting just in 3 months of remission. I'm talking about how I would like to be more in control of those thoughts or those emotions, and like cancer in and of itself is wildly unpredictable, both in what it does to you physically, but also in how it affects you mentally and emotionally. So I do need to be okay with that to some capacity, and maybe I should dial back those concerns a little bit. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is how my life is affected by this remission period, because I think that's really what this is all about. At the end of the day, all cancer patients are just humans living a human experience, and that means it affects our lives, but also we have a goal to get back to our lives as much as we can. So if you've been watching along with my videos since the start, or if you've joined in and learned a little more about me, you'll know that my dad is also going through a cancer treatment right now. He has squamous cell carcinoma behind his eye, and he's been doing treatment for about 4 months right now, and he's doing great. His cancer is about 80% gone, so we're all rooting for him. And I think that between my remission and his progression, it's been much nicer on my mom and my brother and our extended family. Things are calming down a little bit, so that's good to see. Similarly, cancer is really, really difficult on relationships, both romantic relationships or interpersonal ones with friends and family. And my partner, who has been incredibly supportive throughout this whole time, I've seen her kind of, calm down a little bit, and she seems to be doing better from a mental health standpoint. I don't want to speak for her, but I have a pretty good read on that, and it's great. I mean, she's one of the most supportive people I know, and it's one of the reasons I love her so much. And seeing her stress a lot about my physical health, it sucked. And we're doing better. We're able to enjoy our lives a lot more right now. And like I said, at the end of the day, that's all I can really hope for. I just want to be able to live my life on my terms as much as I can, and work around the cancer if and when it comes back. If and when, it's an interesting statement, because from a realistic standpoint, I know that exists, but from a functional standpoint, in remission, I want to just keep acting like I'm going to keep living my life. And so that means, that's why I'm making this post 3 months out. I'm going to celebrate these milestones, and I'm going to act as though my future is bright. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys, what it looks like to hit these milestones, and hopefully they'll keep going and going and going. But I did really enjoy kind of giving you guys more insight into my personal life today. I'm going to try and mix these in a little more alongside with the informational aspects of what it looks like to live with cancer. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate your time. I always do. I'm going to do that thing where I ask you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And once you do that, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.